Hi, I'm Allison Anderson with Integra Builders on the Build Show here at Build Show Live, and we are at the Oknoplast booth talking everything tilt and turn windows and how to get your rough dimensions right. All right, so I am here with the Oknoplast crew. I have Tim Burbank here with Oknoplast and Cody Pelletier with Laurel Windows, who is the authorized dealer in the United States. And we are here to talk everything tilt and turn. These windows are no stranger in Europe. However, in the United States, this is all new to us. And I think they're going to sweep once everybody catches on. So what is a tilt and turn window? Well, let's check it out. We tilt or we turn. Get it? Tilt and turn. And why would we want to use this type of window? Because it performs better than anything we've been using before. That's why. Now tell me what's so special about the Pixel brand.
So what you have here is you have the Pixel window. This is a UPVC product, a tilt and turn option. This is Miami-Dade HVHZ approved, which is high velocity hurricane zone. There's many different zones in the southeast. We're trying to attain them all for our customers. We have many different options here with over 60 colors to choose from in the UPVC line, which can really attain and aesthetically please the customer in all their needs and all their niche markets, depending on what they're trying to accomplish on their project. That is our main focus and main goal, is to give them exactly what they want for their projects.
Yeah, and for the builders out there that are wondering what the Miami-Dade HVHC approved means, it means that it can take on just about anything you need it to take on. If you're in a hurricane zone, if you're in a high impact zone, if you've got wind, you've got driving rain, you've got problems and climates that you have to work around, these windows can handle anything that you need them to perform on. That's the point. The days of us being able to throw any type of window into any type of house for any type of budget is over. We have to prepare these buildings for their next generation of use, and we do that primarily through a good envelope. And a good envelope requires a good window package. These windows do all the things you need them to do at different price levels, but let's talk a little bit more about the PVC package and what you get for that. So my understanding, Cody, is the Pixel is like your entry-level window, right? So this is your UPVC, right? The most competitive price point. This is a double pane window.
Yep, this is double pane. It can actually be offered in triple pane as well. One of the big things is a lot of people think modern homes are the only fit for the UPVC or aluminum. But in reality, I mean, we are seeing anything from a traditional craftsman, contemporary, modern, industrial, like we have markets in Chicago, Boston, where you're seeing a lot of those other applications. You're actually able to fit in a lot of different designs with the PVC. But one of the big things is due to the steel reinforcement and everything, you're able to get these large sizes and typical sizes that most companies can't achieve.
Yeah, it's really awesome. And right through here is the next step up, right?
Yes,
that's your PAVA.
This is actually our PAVA system. PAVA is going to be our Passive House certified system. It is through the FIAS commission. You've got triple pane is the standard. It is even capable to go up to quadruple pane. In Europe, triple standard. So they had to have that one next level, whereas we're doing double pane and you're going up to that next level with triple. There is always the ability to go quadruple pane, which is pretty awesome. That is a triple gasket system. One of the big advantages versus the Pixel, which is doing a double gasket. You got one gasket on the frame, you've got a second gasket on the sash. The PAVA having the triple gasket, what it's going to do is it's going to allow you to get up to a 15 pounds per square foot before you have any sort of water intrusion. I mean, that is tight.
Yeah.
We're also able to hit up DP90 on these units, which is design pressure 90. You're talking like 135 mile an hour winds. That is a stout load, and we can do that with very large size windows and
25 square foot.
25
square foot on an operating window, which is huge.
Yeah. Now, what I wanted to talk about was my experience with tilt and turn windows, which is when clients learn about them and they understand them, they absolutely love them. I mean, we don't have as many things, mullions and things that are impeding light coming into the house. You have very architectural houses where, the way the light is coming in and way shadows are being cast really highly impact a quality design. The one issue that we ran into was rough dimensions on our property. So don't be Allie. Listen to me now. Okay, it's not complicated. Just don't mess it up the first time. So the standard rough dimension of these windows, you need about, a half inch on either side?
You want a half inch on each side, giving you the full 1 inch rough opening. Depending on the size, and we'll get to that at that aluminum window that you were experiencing it with, is on certain systems where the frame is so minimal, you do still have to account for the swing. And on certain systems, you may increase that rough opening just slightly to accommodate that for your finishes.
Exactly. So you want a half inch for the regular, right? You want to be able to insulate the window, you want to be able to shim it and get everything level. What Cody here is talking about is this. See? Turn. We have these exposed hinges here. This is the biggest difference with these types of windows, okay? Certainly the function, we have this micro ventilation that comes from the top, so you can open that window and get a little bit of air. You don't have to open up the whole window. Specifically in Chicago, where we are finishing a lot of basements, we can then tilt it and open it, and we can get full egress in the basements for fire codes, which is where we see really a huge advantage of this. However, these exposed hinges here is how the window functions, and it changes the dynamic of how we prepare our rough openings.
You can see how this actually gets in rather tight. It gives you about half inch of space. So if you are running a very tight rough opening, giving, say, half inch overall rough opening, giving you a 1/4 inch on both sides, now all of a sudden you're to a point where you're having to rip material to almost breakable thicknesses. Trying to accommodate that. One of the big things is really always paying attention and trying to maintain that half inch minimum on your rough opening. One of the big things that European windows are known for is having a clip installation. This is where you're going to have the clips 6 inches from each corner, 16 inches inside the field, and this has been kind of a headache for us in the way that we build our homes, because you're not able to just run drywall tight to it. If you're doing a drywall return, you're not able to just lay trim over it because you're sitting on top of these clips. It gives maybe 1/8 of an inch. Right. So on trim, you were either putting it up to it, marking out all your clips, and then routering out the back, or you're padding out the framing to allow for your drywall to lay flat. Now we have an aluminum nail flange, which really gets us away from that clip, allowing us to go straight to the rough framing, no padding, and allow us to get a lot closer to our a little bit farther away from our rough opening, making us not so much impeding the wall.
Yeah. Now, one of the other things that I really like about Oknoplast is that they have custom brick molds that they will provide you for your masonry openings. Now, I have a lot of masonry openings in Chicago, and what that typically means is that the window gets inset into the masonry a little bit, and that's where we ran into a little bit of trouble, because you have to consider the swing of this window in. So the half inch clears the window, but you have to think about what your extension jam is, what your termination jam is, back to the window inside that window well, right? So there's a few ways, right, that you would trim out a window. I mean, one would be a drywall return, right? So it would be a half inch plus the thickness of your window, right? You could do a poplar board, whether that be a 1/4 inch, a half inch, whatever you want to do. You just have to remember that it's your rough dimension plus your trim material. Now, for those of you that are doing fry reglets, that's a special application too. So as many of you know, this is a typical fry reglet Z-reveal trim, right? We're familiar with it. You get that nice flush reveal that goes along the edge. This flange goes against the drywall, right? And this gets taped over. Now, if you need more information on that, it's a different video. But what you need to know here for this installation is if you're doing a fry reglet detail over here, You have to account for the reveal, and you have to account for the flange, and you have to account for the mud and tape that goes over that flange. Okay, so just give yourself plenty of room to clear that window. The reality when using a fry reglet, this window is more forgiving, the UPVC,
Very
right?
much.
Because you've got this. But what do we like? We like sexy, modern houses. That's what we like in
And that's
Chicago.
aluminum.
And so we're gonna go over to the sexy, modern windows and show you what I mean. Okay, here we go. Ready? Tilt. And turn. Right? We get it. Yes? Okay, Tim. What do we got?
So what you have here is a Miru Evo Modern window. This is in our aluminum line. This comes in over 300 colors. There's large sizes available. There's unlimited expansion capabilities. There's a full RAL palette of colors. This is a tilt and turn. When you open it up, your sight lines are a lot bigger from the outside, the frame size. Multiple locking points, multiple operation. What this is the mullion here. You can open up this side.
One thing that I really want to point out here, which I want to convey strongly, is
Our
the
steel
material on this window. This is a steel window, and look at the miter joints on this mullion.
Allie, a little bit of a correction on that. So this is our Miru Evo steel, but what it's doing is it's doing exactly what you think. It's supposed to look exactly like what your steel profile window is going to be. The only benefit is you're gaining the thermal braking that you get from the aluminum. You're getting a much better price point than you're going to get on a steel window and a much faster lead time on it. This system actually has been approved by the South Boston Historic Society in our market in Boston. Personally, this is my absolute favorite window.
Yeah.
And I can see it on just about any style build, even into a modern where you would think most everything's sleek and slim and flat. I still think that this would be like a very nice feature on a system like that.
Yeah.
But going back to this guy here, I believe
This is where the rubber meets the road. All right. So we talked about the rough dimensions in the fry reglet on the pixel window, right? That's a little more forgiving, and let me tell you why. On this window, the modern, even though the hinge is concealed, look how much less room we have for the swing.
And then when we actually open this up and it starts making its motion, you can see where this is going down all the way to 3/16, quarter inch.
That's right.
Which leaves you next to no room for play. This is being a display window. We actually have extension profiles that are going to allow us to get a little bit extra breathing room on the jambs. And this is again that profile I was mentioning earlier, where sometimes instead of the half inch, it might be worth it to go up to 3/4 of an inch. Giving you the 1.5 inch rough opening just to make sure. It's always easier to pad out our returns than it is to try and whittle it down and try and find 1/4 inch drywall. And it really allows you to have a little bit more breathing room when you go to that 3/4 inch rough opening.
Exactly, and especially when you're doing this, I mean, fry reglet is a very typical detail with a modern window like this. You just need to remember that whatever your dimension is, plus your trim, plus your extension jamb, plus 1/8 inch, you need an extra 1/8 of an inch for the fry reglet Z reveal. Don't forget it. It'll be very painful if you forget it, okay? So this is just a few things you need to know about the rough install of these. The windows themselves are very impressive. And coming from someone who does a lot of landmark work, I mean, these are incredible windows. They can do them any shape, size, anything you need to meet your landmark guidelines. You guys can do it.
And
Yeah.
I tell you, we've got a project in Boston. The building was built in 1904, 1905, something like this. We did do the steel. We did a fixed over operable with a mullion bar right in the center there. I will tell you, one of the really big advantages is, especially when you're doing these landmark homes, Sometimes drinking on the job was not necessarily the biggest frowned upon thing, but sometimes, I mean, you can end up with openings that are out of square, cantered, leaned, not consistent. Sometimes you go from one that's 36 inches wide, the next one could be 35 and a half, 35 and a quarter.
Yeah.
You are actually able, there's no standard in sizing. I mean, we can fit just about any opening depending on the project.
Yeah, and I would just say err on wider. If you're not sure or you
Always.
don't have anything
Always.
spec'd, give yourself some breathing room in your rough dimensions.
That
Now,
inch to inch and a half is a pretty good rule.
Yeah.
And on the replacements, inch and a half is safe.
Yeah, yeah. But when you're brick to brick, especially in your masonry openings, like err with
Brick
caution.
is unforgiving.
Yeah, exactly. Now, speaking of drinking on the job, there is something also very cool. So everyone wants to build a Matt Reisinger house. We know that. We all strive to be Matt. But if you're a little unsure about your building science knowledge, you're a little unsure about your envelope control layers and barriers and your water management control and things like that, you've got a project that needs a really good solid window. It's going to protect your warranty. I want to point out this detail here. And Tim, you want to talk to this? This is really cool.
Yes, what you have here is a thermally broken window with a warm tech spacer that has plenty of channels with a drip edge and a weep hole on the outside for drainage. It's an amazing project. We've really thought about everything that can really make a impact, as well as the sight lines on the inside. Get a good look at that. Thermally broken.
Not only do you have this gasket, but you do also have this internal gasket here, plus a third contact. So you're making 3 points of contact on air sealing all the way through. And this trough gasket is what's really going to force all that water that gets in past the number one. It's really going to force that towards where the weep hole would be. This obviously being a corner cut, it doesn't have it integrated, but right here in this chamber, right here, you're going to have that weep hole. So that second gasket is really forcing that water out of the unit.
Right. So what they're talking about is that this window is stopping any water from getting to the interior side of that window. So it's just another fail-safe in your envelope to make sure that if water gets in, it's not getting all the way in, right? The window is built to manage that water and control its path.
I'm not sure if you've seen that, but even most European companies that are producing these windows, they are recommending to tape all four sides, seal all four sides around the window, which we're not used to because we don't build with aerated concrete blocks and bricks and stuff. Most likely is 2x4, 2x6, 2x8. But one of the big things is they know the water management systems of their systems really prevents that water from coming in, like you just said, and they really are that confident in it that they recommend to do it all four sides. But
yeah, so
best practices.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're worried about being one beer short of a six-pack, this window will protect you. It's these kinds of products and things that protect your warranty and that really allow you a little bit of breathing room and a little bit of human error without having a huge catastrophic issue in your envelope. So really great product, guys.
Alec, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Allie.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great day.
You too.